Okay, hello. This is part two. The only reason I'm coming back, I had to make a little trip. So I went and found some other. So let me see here. This is. Okay. Okay. So this was dated July 1st. Here we go. So as I said before, I had to, interrupt myself. He is alleging that he and his former colleagues are victims of forced labor, human trafficking, and union busting. So Motong's experiences at Sama were first reported by Time magazine, Time, in February 2022. He has since spoken about his ordeal publicly, including at a panel discussion on June 14th in London alongside another Facebook whistleblower, Francis Haugen, at a hearing in a Kenyan labor court on June 27th. Sama's lawyer, Terry Mwango, said that Motong, speaking to the media and in public about his experiences, risked prejudicing court proceedings. Mwango requested a formal order to prevent Motong and his lawyers from speaking about the case in public. Meta's lawyer, Fred Oyambo, seconded Mwango's request. Unless the petitioner and particularly his advocates are injuncted by this court from continuing to deal with this matter in this way, there will be complete and total contempt, not only of the proceedings, but out of the court and the judicial officer dealing with it. According to addressing the judge, he said, "It is my honorable submission, Lord, that your lordship crack the whip this time around." Wow. It's amazing how when powerful people don't want you to be able to talk about unfair treatment and how they're doing you, and how people will try to silence someone and take away their rights to publicly speak about the treatment that they are experiencing. And people have to understand that human trafficking is not just sex trafficking. Human trafficking is not just sex trafficking. Human trafficking, can be illegal work. I'm just going in here. Okay. Some of these I'm not going to go into simply because this is an old one. So let me get into the okay. Okay, so for those of you that are Ricky Martin fans, a judge has granted a restraining order against artist Ricky Martin. So this is taking place in Dorado, Puerto Rico. A judge has issued a restraining order against Puerto Rican superstar Ricky Martin, police said. So this was like this past week. This has been going on over this past week. So the order, okay, this was July 2nd. So let me get the, let me see if I can get the update on here. So let me type in Ricky Martin. Okay, so the latest news that we have is about 19 hours ago. So the judge has granted a restraining order against him. The order was signed, and authorities visited an upscale neighborhood where the singer lives to try to serve the order. Police spokesman Alex Valencia told the Associated Press. Ricky Martin performs live on stage during the Cannes Gala 2022 at Hotel du Cap Eden Rock on May 26th. So that's the only news we have on that so far. Okay. Let's get back on my OneNotes, get back in my notes here. Okay. Okay, so a 10-year-old girl travels to Indiana abortion after SCOTUS overturns Roe v. Wade. Okay, this was July 3rd. Okay, so this had to do, so we've got all that caught up because that had to do with remote working. So the remote working thing I think is interesting because my right now my daughter, who is an adult, works remotely, and it has provided her she's been remotely working for like the past 3 years. So the one thing that she has liked, it has given her the ability to, she was at one point still taking my grandson to the babysitter. And then she stopped because she was like, oh, what is the sense in doing that? All it does is make you have to get him up out of bed. All it does is make you have to get him up out of bed. And you have to turn around and throw on clothes and everything. So she started keeping him at home. Now, I'll be honest with you, remote work is almost something that I wish was around when my kids were smaller. Unfortunately, when my kids were smaller, I was still doing hair. So kind of hard to work remotely in that type of profession because of all of the rules and regulations we have to have in order to do someone's hair safely. But now I'm seeing that many people are starting to call the workers back to the office. And that's where, and I've seen a lot of editorials addressing that issue. And for me, it's kind of like, it's kind of like now that they've seen, so I worked in a call center. The last call center that I worked in offered remote work, although I wasn't able to get it. And the people who, my thing is, I don't care if they work remotely as long as the service is the same. But a lot of people, like, you have to maintain your professionality if you're going to work from home. because there were many compartments that I was contacting, and I kind of noticed the difference. Okay, so if you're going to work from home, my only, and it's not a complaint so much as it is a charge, and that is that you keep your um, work the same. Okay, your quality of work doesn't go down, because with some people it does. Um, Another is that, like I said, I think a lot of companies, because if you're able to do your job from home as well as you do it from the office, then that starts to make a lot of upper middle management look at some of the middle management and think, well, what do we need you for? And they're needed, but not in the same capacity. I personally kind of like the fact that my only concerns, as the grandparent of a grandchild whose mother works from home, I ask a lot of questions, because I'm like, so how, so you're wondering, like, what about their quality of care, especially when they're really small, because he's 3. um just different other questions about the quality of care that the children who might have moms and dads that are working remotely, the quality of their care, the way, are they, the TV question of whether or not they're, the baby, whether or not the TV is babysitting the children, just different stuff like that. And but I also see the pros, being able to stay at home, being able to not having to pay a babysitter. Many of the girls that I worked with, that were being offered, were being able to work remotely, that were just like, I'm ready to go back home. Number one, saving you on gas because of the commute, the ability to commute, the ability to be at home and work from home, not having to pay a babysitter, because many of them were like, I'm ready to go back home. Many of them were disabled. So, that's something to think about. But I'm starting to see that many people are starting to call people back to the office. And I'm like, like I said, I'm at the point where I'm ready to work for me. Too many, working for other people gives too many issues of the abuse of power, which is starting to get on my nerves. The older you get, one thing I'm noticing as a 55-year-old is that the older I get, the less I want to have to put up with stuff that I put up with when I was younger. When you're not younger, you tolerate a lot of stuff because you're ready to get into the profession, ready to get into the job, and you're ready to do your thing. You're ready to make your money. And all of that there. The older that you get, you what is that Dr. Phil is always saying? This is not your first rodeo. So as you get older, you start to know more about pay, benefits, different other stuff like that. You also, know more about the profession that you're in, and you've seen a lot and done a lot and went through a lot. And the older that you get, I'm noticing the older I get, the less patience I have for dumb stuff. The less patience I have for BS. Either in my professional life, and definitely not in my personal life. So just like when I was reading this article about this young man that Facebook is now trying to silence. First of all, 220 that $2.20 an hour is not enough for, and I don't know what his particular situation is like, but I understand why workers rebel, because you really don't pay them enough. I was looking at this thing on YouTube, because they post the TikTok comments. And so a young man, and so there's this one on there where they talk about what is a scam that has been going on for so long that we don't even see it as a scam. And so one of the things that one guy touched on was restaurants and tipping. Now, being a former hairdresser, I used to get tips, but I also was being paid above minimum wage. So there's restaurants that still don't pay, and these are high-end restaurants that still are not paying their workers at least minimum wage to live. So the guy made the point that you're no longer tipping. When that happens, you're no longer tipping because you're getting good service, and most times you are. Tipping is now a moral dilemma, because you feel like if you don't tip them, then you don't know what they're going home to live off of. I thought that was interesting. And it's really the case of living in a capitalist culture. I just thought that was interesting. The things that people call a scam. And you wonder, well, really, is that a scam? It can be. And I thought it was interesting that this young man, who they're talking about with the whole Facebook thing, is now, like I said, human trafficking is not just sex trafficking. People are really making a lot of money off of selling people into work conditions. Okay? These are just new things that you now have to think about. And it's horrible. So it's I know, like I said, not mukbang. But it is just one of many things in our system that allows people to really take advantage of people. You heard me. So this week, I know I feel like I'm jumping around a lot. It's just because the outline that I had set up for the 4th. And of course, the 4th is, happened. And now we're like a week later. And I had planned on talking about some of this stuff on Friday. Well, that didn't happen. But what I was thinking about doing was, on the weeks that I don't do the radio broadcast, that I would push back Fridays live at noon and have it be Fridays live at midnight instead. And usually, I don't talk more than an hour anyway. But that would be the teaching, and that way, that would give me my Friday to just kind of relax and get some things done around the offices. And I'm thinking that may be something that I'll do. Of course, this Friday, that's not going to happen, because, but this Fridays live at noon will be happening. I will be posting content this week. I will find a way to do it. Also, There will be a station head, so I will be doing a broadcast this weekend. I haven't figured out the theme yet. I will be telling you the theme Friday at noon. Um, Today, just kind of chuck off today is she's not. She's not. I'm in my right mind. I'm in my right mind. Um, I'm in my right mind. There's just been so much going on within the past couple weeks. Like we said, we're still kind of reeling from Roe v. Wade. I can tell that, but what I'm looking at on my social media. Let me see here. Okay. Okay, so ooh, see, this is why I wanted to see the update. So it looks like the Ricky Martin abuse case has gotten more complicated. So several Spanish language media outlets are reporting the name of the man who recently requested a restraining order be placed on singer Ricky Martin for alleged domestic violence. The man, who is in his early 20s, is said to be Ricky's nephew, Dennis Yadiel Sanchez Martin. Okay, so earlier this month, a judge signed the order under Law 54, which is known as the Domestic Abuse Prevention and Intervention Act. The person who filed the complaint was unknown at the time. According to reports, Dennis is alleging that he and his uncle were in an intimate relationship for several months. His uncle? Lord? That's where you almost say, and they have a docu-series coming out, not necessarily about him, but about the group he was a part of. So if you know if you're a tried and true Ricky Martin fan, then you know at one point he was a part of the group Menudo from the 80s. And so I think that's going to be interesting to watch. So they were in an intimate relationship for several months, according to Ricky's brother Eric. The allegations are not true and says that the nephew Dennis suffers from mental problems. Eric posted a message for Dennis on social media where he said that he has hurt his mother and grandmother and that he knows the mental problems he has. Eric also mentioned that he tried to call Dennis on the phone and connect with him on social media, but that was unsuccessful. The complaint filed by Dennis said says that Ricky allegedly started harassing Dennis after he would not accept their breakup. Eric denies that there was ever a romantic relationship that took place between Dennis and Ricky. On social media, Ricky Martin called the allegations completely false and said that he would let the judicial process play out. Because it is an ongoing legal matter, I cannot make detailed statements at this time. I am grateful for the countless messages of solidarity, and I received them with all my heart. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting to watch play out. I pray that none of this is true. Okay. Singer and actor Adam Wade dies at 87. So if you remember Adam Wade, he was one of the premier actors of the 70s. He played Winona's one boyfriend. If you've been watching the Good Times episode, he was the boyfriend that bought Winona the boutique and wanted to, just so she wouldn't work. It's an interesting episode. Anyway, he played Frank Mason, that was his name. He has passed away. His acting resume includes hit songs on the Billboard 100 and appearances on iconic black films. He made history in 1975 as the first black game show host in a show called Musical Chairs. And he passed away from Parkinson's disease. So he's a Pittsburgh native, and he was originally named Patrick Henry Wade. He developed a smooth romantic crooning style in his attempts to imitate his boyhood idol, Nat King Cole. So I've always said that everyone is a fan of someone. He worked with Cole's brother, Freddie Cole, in New York City when starting his career. He also opened for Tony Bennett at the famous Copacabana. He racked up 3 top 10 Billboard 100 hits. Take Care of Her, which hit number 7, The Writing on the Wall, and As If I Didn't Know. I'm going to see if I can find those and play them for y'all this coming Friday. So, Mr. Wade launched his career in the 60s. His first on-screen appearance was on an episode of the Tarzan television series. He also followed that with several films, including Shaft and Claudia. His acting included Sanford and Son and the Jeffersons. And like I said, he was also on Good Times. He also brought his gifts on the stage in regional theater and on Broadway. He was an understudy for Ben Vereen in I'm Not Rappaport. In addition to his wife, Mr. Wade is survived by his children, Ramel, Patrice, Jamel, and Latoya, and several grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Okay. Well, some of these I can wait until Friday afternoon, but I just wanted to go ahead and touch base with you guys today because I'm tired. I got tired of missing my appointed times. So I'm going to go ahead and get off here. But like I said, we will be connecting this. I'm getting back on. I'm going to get back on schedule this Friday afternoon. There will be a live broadcast Friday night at midnight, and I will announce that I will announce the theme Friday afternoon. So you guys enjoy your week. Be blessed, and I love you all. Bye bye.